Does anybody think he's going to make it to the starting gate? I mean, the guy can't find his way off of a stage. Look, here's a stage. Here's a stage. I've never seen this stupid stage before, right? I've never seen it. But if I walk left, there's a stair. And if I walk right, there's a stair. And this guy gets up. Where am I? Where the hell am I? Where am I? Nah, he's terrible.
Press always asks me, don't I wish I were debating him? No, I wish we were in high school. I could take him behind the gym. That's what I wish.
You were a senator.
You're the worst president America has ever had.
Hey,
Come
Joe,
on.
let me just say, Joe, I've done more in 47 months. I've done more than you've done in 47 years, Joe. Keep yapping, man. The people understand, Joe. With you,
Go ahead. Wait a minute. You get the final word. Mr.
Well, it's hard to get any word in with this clown.
A lot of people died, and a lot more are going to die unless he gets a lot smarter, a lot quicker.
Mr. President?
Did you use the word smart? So you said you went to Delaware State, but you forgot the name of your college. You didn't go to Delaware State. You graduated either the lowest or almost the lowest in your class. Don't ever use the word smart with me. Don't ever use that word.
Oh, give me a break.
Because you know what? There's nothing smart about you, Joe. 47 years, you've done nothing.
Let's add this to...
And then remember when Biden? I'd like to take him to the back of the barn. I dream of that. You know what I do with him? Oh, I dream of it. I'd hit him right in that fake nose. That fake nose. They'd have plastic lying all over the floor. But I don't want to say that. So when he says it, they say, oh, he said, remember when he was doing that? I'd like to take him to the back of the barn. You know what you do with him? You just look at him and you go like this. But, so he can say that, and they say, oh, did you hear him? If I said it, they'd say I was violent.
Oh my God. I can't wait till the debates next year. This is going to be off the chain. These dudes are wow. And nobody in politics is better at roasting than Donald Trump. That alone gives people votes. Back in 2015, when he started roasting Jeb Bush and Marco Rubio and all them guys, we were like, damn, we've never seen this before. This is crazy, man. It's wild. And Biden actually thinks he wants to whoop somebody's ass. Biden's always getting in somebody's face. Remember that auto worker? He got all in that guy's face over the gun debate. And he's straight to take Trump behind the gym and whoop his ass. He had that story talking about Corn Pop at the swimming pool. Apparently he was about to whoop Corn Pop's ass. This dude will get his ass beat down, just like Trump said. It is over. But we know the real battle is going to take place at the polls and in the battleground states. So that's what we're about to talk about. This is a Bite Signal podcast. So all that bravado, all that smack talk, it's entertaining and all. It's funny. I laugh my ass off at it. But like I said, the real fight, the real battle is going to be at the ballot box next year. And the previews of the ballot box are the polls. So we're going to get into some poll numbers because it looks like Joe Biden might be in a heap of trouble. It looks like Trump is going to whoop Joe Biden's ass. So right now we're looking at USA Today. Right now they're saying Biden and Trump are statistically tied. They're both polling at about 37% plus or minus a few points. But remember, you got to keep in mind that this is a 4-person race. So we got Biden, we got Trump, but we also have RFK. Because remember, RFK has left the Democrat Party and become an independent because RFK saw the writing on the wall. He saw that the DNC has completely rigged the Democrat primary in Joe Biden's favor. He said, you know what? Screw y'all. I'm out of here. So he's running as an independent to the ire of the Democrats. Then you got Cornel West. I think it's Cornel West, and I think he's running in the Green Party. So you got 4 people in the race. And when you look at 37%, that basically means that the Republicans are winning. Historically, when you look at the previous elections, go back the 2016 election, 2012, even back to Obama and McCain in 2008, when you look at these elections, for a general election nationwide poll, the Democrat needs to be 8 to 10 points, at least 8 to 10 points ahead for them to say, okay, I'm winning. So when you're tied, statistically tied, it means the Republicans are winning. And one thing about this is the media plays a large part in the polling because the media does nothing but demonize Republicans. So they've been demonizing Donald Trump on ABC, CBS, NBC, even Fox News. Fox News is kind of two-faced. They talk a little bit good about Trump and a little bad about Biden, and then they'll flip and they'll go against Trump and Trump supporters and actually help Biden's campaign. So the media alone, all this negative press and stuff, the media is worth about 10 to 15 points for Biden. If the media was completely neutral, like they were back in the day, remember when Ronald Reagan won 49 states, beat the dog crap out of the Democrat nominee back in 1984? When you have a more neutral media, with the media not trying to put their thumb on the scale, the Republicans would dominate the Democrats every time. But since the Republicans have to run against the media and against the Democrats, it brings the numbers down. Trump will be over 50% if we had a neutral media. But because we have the biased media, it brings Trump's numbers down. So having a tie with Biden is a good thing for him. And like I said, this is a 4-person race. We got Cornel West. We got RFK in it. RFK, according to this poll, he's about 13%. And some other polls, you'll see him at 14, 15. So he's in that range, 13 to 15%. Cornel West, he's consistently around 4%. So what does this mean? What does it mean to have RFK in the race? Well, what it does is, according to this poll, it actually hurts Biden and Trump. 2/3 of the people who are voting for RFK, they're saying if RFK wasn't in a race, they'll actually vote for Trump, which means he's siphoning off a lot of votes from Trump. And then you have the rest of them saying they'll vote for Biden. But then you have other polls where most of the people who said they're going to go for RFK would actually vote for Biden if RFK wasn't in the race. So he's playing a role in sucking off support from both sides. And the reason why a lot of Trump supporters like him is because he's one of those old school Democrats who goes against all of this woke nonsense, forced vaccines, the trans to kids, and all that bull crap. RFK wants to be more like his father was and his uncle, President JFK, where back in the day, he wanted to take the Democrat Party closer to that. But in today's climate, that's not going to happen. And these Democrats, they know the Kennedy family is a dynasty, one of the biggest family names in politics, but they don't give a damn about that. They said, look, Kennedy, we don't care who your father and your uncle were. They're dead. We're running things our way, and we don't give a damn about them. In fact, we're going to demonize you because you're going against our agenda, and we're going to rig the election against you. So a lot of people who are also not so fond of Joe Biden, they're going to go with Kennedy. And then you look at Cornel West, he's pulling support from Joe Biden. Almost all the people who are voting for him would otherwise vote for Biden. And he's known, he's a civil rights activist or whatever. So a lot of people know him. He's been in universities talking, he's been giving speeches, he's been around for years. So he's getting 4% overall, but his percentage of the black vote could actually be larger than what people think. A lot of black people are disgruntled with the Democrat Party. Look at what those people up there in Chicago are going through with the immigration crisis. They're putting all these illegal immigrants in the black neighborhoods. A lot of people realizing how trash Joe Biden is. So a lot of these black people, 95% of black women, vote for Joe Biden. They're extremely loyal to the Democrat Party. But some of them could break off. A lot of them could break off and vote for Cornel West. Because remember, these black people have been brainwashed to believe that Trump is a racist and that they could never vote for him, because if they voted for him, something's wrong with him. So they could never vote for Donald Trump, even though Joe Biden is absolute garbage and they know it. So a lot of them will break and vote for Cornel West. And they're combining, in this poll, they're combining for about 17% of the overall vote. You look at somebody like Ross Perot back in the day. Ross Perot in the 1992 election, he took 19% of the vote. But most of his voters actually came from George Bush Sr. You had Bush Sr. and Clinton going at it. And when you go to certain swing states where Bush would have probably won, Ross Perot took thousands of votes from Bush, which allowed Clinton to win that state at a lower percentage. And what this is going to do is going to play the same effect. If you're going to have Cornel West and RFK Jr. combined, so you go to these swing states like Michigan, like Nevada, like Arizona, Pennsylvania, when we get to these swing states, a lot of people are going to look and they're going to see Cornel West and they're going to see RFK Jr. And thousands of people, tens of thousands of people who probably would have voted for Joe Biden in those cases are going to break away and vote for the third and fourth party guys. It's going to happen to Trump too, but I believe it's going to happen to a greater degree against Biden. So when we get to these key swing states, having these extra people in there is really going to hurt the Democrat Party. And the reason why Joe Biden is so trash and the reason why Trump is tied with Biden, even though the media is all against Trump, is all about negative news for Trump, and they're trying to brainwash people against Trump, it's because the economy is terrible. It's because of inflation. It's because the cost of living is sky high. People aren't being paid enough to survive today's economy because Joe Biden keeps spending money. They're just acting like, oh, we're a rich country. We can spend here and there. We can spend. You're waging wars all over the place. You had that coronavirus BS. So you're printing trillions of dollars because remember, the nation is $33 trillion in debt. United States is broke. You get $4 trillion a year in tax revenue, but all of that money is immediately spent on Social Security, military, and other free welfare programs for people, and then also the interest on the debt. That alone, all of that, military, free stuff, and debt interest sucks up all the money the United States has every year. So when they start saying, oh, we can save Ukraine, we can save Israel, we can spend money, we can do this, we can spend trillions of dollars on vaccines and all of that. No, the United States doesn't have the money for that. They print it, and when they print money, it causes inflation. It causes housing prices to rise, food prices, gas, everything goes up. And people are looking at the president saying this economy is absolute garbage. And Joe Biden and his campaign, his handlers, because he's a decrepit old man, so his handlers have come up with a term, which is one of the most gaslighting words in the English language, Bidenomics. They're actually going out there and touting Bidenomics like the economy is good. They're basically pissing on your leg and telling you that it's raining. They're saying the economy is good. What are you talking about? Look at these unemployment numbers. Look at the world around you. Everything looks good. Don't believe your lying eyes. When you go to the grocery store and spend hundreds of dollars per month than what you used to spend, hey, that's an illusion. When gas is $5, $5.50 a gallon, and it used to be $3 a gallon, hey, that's an illusion. When the average car payment, the average car note used to be $500, and now it's pushing $900 a month for a car note, hey, that's an illusion. Bidenomics, the economy is great. What are you talking about? So they're completely gaslighting the country. And obviously these failed wars, people getting fed up, where the United States is prioritizing Ukraine, spending billions of dollars, siphoning off cash, printed money that could be used for the taxpayers, or money that they shouldn't print at all, really. Siphoning off cash from the Americans and sending it to some foreigners on the other side of the world. Now they're trying to do the same thing with Israel. We got all types of problems in the United States. All education, the border, infrastructure, all kinds of problems. But they're prioritizing overseas wars because they're bought and sold by the military industrial complex. So people are tired of it, and people also remember that terrible thing that happened in Afghanistan. Joe Biden and his handlers didn't know what the hell they were doing. They ended up getting Marines killed. And then when the Marines were being brought back to the United States as their caskets were being loaded off the plane, Joe Biden was over there checking his watch because he didn't give a shit. People remember all that. So the problem that Trump is facing on his side is abortion. And you might be surprised, but abortion is a massive issue against Trump because of single women. These unmarried women are single issue voters. They say, damn the economy, the wars, whatever, all of that inflation, we don't care. Can we do abortion? Can we go and snatch our babies out the womb? Can we do that? Who's going to allow us to do that? We're going to vote for that person. So abortion is hurting Trump tremendously with unmarried women, and then all that brainwashing January 6th crap. Remember January 6th, where a bunch of middle-aged people, unarmed middle-aged people, were at the Capitol protesting, and then Capitol Police let them walk through the building? Well, we have a large chunk of the population that are brainwashed. They have Trump derangement syndrome, and they're saying Trump's a criminal. Trump's an insurrectionist. He tried to overthrow the government. We know there were military and armed guards and armed police down there, but hey, these unarmed old people could have overthrew the country. It was more dangerous than 9/11 because these people have been brainwashed. That's why they say stuff like that. They've been force-fed information from CNN, NBC, that Trump is some type of deranged lunatic when they're actually deranged lunatics, because when you listen to them talk, they sound like straight-up NPCs. But they're not going to vote for Trump because of that. They believe that he's some type of criminal. And then the single women aren't going to vote for him because they love them some abortions. But the effects on the economy, the way people feel about their pocketbook, how much money is being sucked out of their pocketbook every month, that's the big one. Economics. And economics is going against Biden, and that BS term Bidenomics, it ain't working. But we're going to look at some polls that matter even more, and that's the swing states. These are the big polls. So let's take a look at Morning Consult. Let's look at these swing states, see what's going on over here, because I don't think it's looking too good for Joe Biden, because when we go down here, so the key states next year, we're going to be looking at Georgia, Arizona, Michigan, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. And yeah, I think those are pretty much it. Virginia used to be in play, but Northern Virginia is basically an offshoot of DC, and it's become so huge that they push their leftist politics and it spreads across the entire state. So Virginia is pretty much blue at this point. So when we look at these swing states that are in play, the ones that were toss-up states during the last round, we see Trump is leading overall. So Arizona, Trump is up 47-43. He's leading in Georgia. And we saw those shenanigans in Georgia with the ballot boxes being pulled out in the middle of the night, the busted water main or whatever the hell happened. He's tied up there in Michigan. Now in Nevada, Nevada is an interesting state because Nevada is basically Vegas. When you look at the overall population, almost everyone in Nevada, you got a few small towns in the north, and obviously you have the Carson City, Reno areas, but you have millions of people, probably about 3 million people, the vast majority of the population in a Vegas area. And why does that matter? That matters because Nevada is right next to California, and people talking about California spreading the California virus all over the country, like to Texas and Tennessee. The California virus has hit Vegas and Nevada so hard that this state, which was traditionally and historically a red state, is blue, because you have hundreds of thousands of voters who are Californians, people who have moved from California in the last 5 years, the last 10 years. They've completely infiltrated the state and basically made Vegas a long distance suburb of LA. So they came in with all their left-wing policies, and that's the reason why Biden is leading in the polls now, why Biden won Nevada during the last go-around, because Nevada is being turned into California. Even though outside of Nevada, the state is still completely red. And when we go down and look at the other ones, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Biden is still winning. As long as no shenanigans take place. We saw what happened in Philadelphia and in Pennsylvania, how these guys changed their voter laws. I think they violated the voters' laws. And Texas tried to sue, but the Supreme Court didn't want to deal with it. But as long as we don't run into these shenanigans again, I think Trump has a really good shot at taking the majority of these swing states. I think he can take Arizona, Georgia, Michigan. I'm not sure. I don't think he's going to win Nevada. It's just way too many Californians in Nevada. Down there in the Vegas area is just a lot of Trump hate, Trump derangement syndrome going on down there in Vegas. Even though in 2022, Nevada did elect a Republican governor, but voter turnout had a lot to do with it because it was a midterm vote. So we'll see during the big one next year. Pennsylvania, I think Trump has a really good shot. I think Pennsylvania is probably going to be the tightest one because it's really hard to call. And it was Wisconsin. We're talking about the blue wall, how Obama and them, they were talking about Republicans will never win again as long as we lock up the Midwest state, Illinois, Wisconsin, Michigan, Indiana, all of that. As long as we lock that up, Republicans have no shot. Trump came in 2016 and we saw the blue wall crumble. So will we see the blue wall crumble again? Like if Trump wins Michigan and Wisconsin, yeah, Biden's in trouble. And the main thing that these people are concerned with, just like across the country, are their pocketbooks. How much money am I saving for myself? How much do things cost? What's my cost of living? The economics. When you just look at the demographics overall, the main ones supporting Biden are black women. Black men too, when you look at it overall, but black women are even more loyal. And then just single women generally, because these single women, apparently, based on voting trends and exit polling, these single women love them some abortion. That's the number one thing to them. Who's going to allow me to get an abortion? That's what I'm voting for. Damn the economy, damn the wars, all of that crap. I need an abortion. So that's what they're voting on. And the Hispanics, the Latino population, they're not as brainwashed and a monolith voting block like black people, but they still vote in large part for Democrats. And that's one of the strategies with this open border policies that Joe Biden and DNC are pushing. If they say you don't need voter ID, they let illegal immigrants come in, they're going to just vote 2 out of 3 for the Democrats. That's why Texas is light red at this point. And Texas, in a couple of years, Texas is going to be on this list with the swing states because of the Latino vote. Overall, outside of shenanigans, outside of Google and YouTube, them trying to suppress stuff, outside of massive voter fraud and week-long election seasons, outside of them taking 2 weeks to count and ballot harvesting, we saw what happened with the ballots down there in Arizona, how the papers weren't even the right size with Kerry Lake. So outside of all of that, Trump has the advantage in the swing states. And Trump has the advantage overall because, like I said, being tied, statistically tied, means the Republicans are in the lead. So if we can maintain this, and I don't think with Biden's policies, they're going to do anything to drastically improve the economy. So if we stay on the same course for the next year, the Republicans are in a good position overall because what people care about the most is their money. We could talk about the wars, abortion. We could talk about January 6th and the Trump derangement syndrome. But if people are renting a house for $1,000 and then 6 months or a year later, that $1,000 house goes to $1,300 or $1,500, that's what matters to people. If gas was costing $3 a gallon and now you pushing $4.50 to $5 a gallon, that's what matters to people. How much are they spending in the grocery store? And in these swing states, like we go back to Arizona and Nevada, 2 swing states, during 2021, 2022, the cost of housing spiked. So if you're in Vegas and you were looking at a house that cost $300,000, all of a sudden over the course of 18 months, that $300,000 house was $450,000. And the bank said, you know what? You were making $70,000. You did what you needed to do with your credit. Everything was looking good. You did your part. But that $70,000 ain't enough now. You need to make $120,000 now. I know last year $70,000 was good, but now you need $120,000 because these housing prices have spiked. People in Arizona are upside down because they fell into this housing craze. Went down there to Arizona, a lot of Californians too, bought all these houses for like $400,000, $500,000. And now they dipped some. These houses are now $50,000 less than what they bought them for, or they're $100,000 less in appraised value. So these people are upside down. We have a lot of people upside down in their house. So they're stuck. And I'm saying all that to say these are the biggest economic issues that affect people. The cost of housing, the cost of food, and the cost of transportation. And these things have gone horribly over the last couple of years. And when we look at that, it just looks like Trump has the advantage. But before Sleepy Joe can worry about Trump, he needs to worry about securing the primary because we hear the rumors about Gavin Newsom, but Trump has actual competitors in the race. So let's get into what's going on with that. But first, a word from my sponsor, me, the Bicycle Merch Store. As we discuss today's topics and ideas, remember that your values and your ideas can be expressed by the things that you wear. Check out our thoughtfully curated merchandise celebrating traditional values and government restraint. Explore our unique collection starting with the Supreme Style tinfoil hat, a statement piece that embodies our commitment to critical thinking and pushing back against the norm. Make a statement with the Free Trump shirt, boldly displaying the captivating mugshot of the former president, which instantly became the most famous picture in the world. At the Bicycle Merch Store, we're more than just products. We're a community dedicated to celebrating and defending traditional values. Sign up for promotions and receive 10% off your very first order. Don't miss out on these exceptional items. Embrace tradition, champion freedom, and shop now at tbsmerch.com. So Joe Biden is ducking New Hampshire. New Hampshire for the last 100 years, probably more than that, New Hampshire has went first in these primaries, in a Republican and Democrat primary for the U.S. president. All of a sudden, next year, 2024, the Biden campaign and the DNC want to break with tradition. And why is that? Because Joe Biden and his handlers are afraid of him running against Marianne Williamson and Dean Phillips. He's afraid of Biden. They're afraid of Biden going against these guys. Most of the country probably don't even know who these people are. But they're going by demographics because we know New Hampshire's up there way northeast. Ain't no black people up there. So they're afraid that if Joe Biden runs up there, and this is the first election that's supposed to take place in January, that Biden is going to get his ass whooped by Marianne Williamson and Dean Phillips. I mean, we know RFK would have said in the primary, RFK would have mopped the floor with him up there. But they're still afraid. So what the DNC and Biden's campaign pushed, they said, you know what? F New Hampshire. We don't want to go to New Hampshire first. How about we go to South Carolina? South Carolina is usually third. We have New Hampshire and Iowa going first. But Biden and his handlers know that these loyal Negroes in South Carolina are going to vote for him no matter what. They had, I forgot his name, was it Clyburn, that congressman up there? He told the black people, hey, look, this man who used to be friends with this KKK member, this man who talked about integration was allowing his kids to go to school in a racial jungle. This man who called black kids roaches. Yeah, as black people, we need to vote for this man. And those Negroes went out there and did it because we saw in 2020 when he was going against Pete Buttigieg, whatever the hell his name is, and those other people. We saw him lose in the first couple of primaries, and they were basically saying his campaign was saved by the Negroes in South Carolina. He went to some black church in South Carolina pretending like he cared or gave a damn. You should have saw the video of them singing that song, and he was just looking like, I don't know what the hell these people doing. I'm in a jungle with a bunch of monkeys and roaches. He didn't know what the hell was going on. But they're going to vote for him. So what the DNC, after Biden's campaign pushed this, is the DNC changed the rules. They said, New Hampshire, we know that you guys have it in your state law that you have to go first, but y'all need to change the state law. This state law been around since the 1800s. Okay, who cares? Change the law because we want to make sure Biden, the current president, doesn't get embarrassed by Marianne Williamson by losing in the first primary. Because they're afraid that if somebody like Marianne Williamson or Dean Phillips beats Biden in New Hampshire, they're going to pick up momentum and they might win in Iowa. And next thing you know, it's going to be a real race, which these people don't want. They just want Biden to be crowned the Democrat nominee without any real competition. So they don't need New Hampshire standing in the way, actually allowing the voters to make their voices known and have a real competition. This thing is rigged from the beginning. This whole plot here by the DNC and by the Biden campaign is worse than what they did to Bernie Sanders, because Bernie Sanders was given some real competition to Hillary Clinton back in 2016 during the debates. We found out that the news organizations like CNN, they gave Hillary Clinton their questions before the debate, but they didn't do it for Bernie. The superdelegates, which is an atrocious thing to have in these primaries, but the DNC and these sheep in the Democrat Party, these Democrat voters allow it, where these super delegates can rig the vote. One person who represents the state, representing the DNC, one person's vote equals about 400 or 500 people's vote. So all of these quote unquote super delegates, even though the voters in a certain state voted for Bernie and Bernie could have won, the super delegates said, you know what, we don't care about that. Our votes are worth more than the ordinary citizens, and we're going to pick Hillary. And they did the same thing in 2020. And Bernie and his supporters, they just sat there, got buck broke. They took it. So they have all this stuff rigging the election, and the Democrat voters are just going to sit there and take it. They're completely rigging this election. I mean, worse than what the superdelegates and the bait cheaters did to Bernie Sanders back in the day. Of course, they got the superdelegates who are going to be in Biden's pocket too. But now they're saying, you know what, we're not even going to allow a vote. If they said if New Hampshire holds this vote first and y'all candidates go up there and campaign and win, we're not going to count it. We're not going to count those delegates from New Hampshire as points to win a nomination. What if Dean Phillips wins New Hampshire and New Hampshire goes first as they said they will? Dean Phillips doesn't get any points for that. It doesn't count because Biden and the DNC said so. Isn't that complete rigging the election? You talk about voter suppression. I haven't seen anything like this, anything worse than this. Voter suppression. I mean, obviously, besides the election rigging that they ran back in 2020, but this is just completely blatant. And let me read a quote from the Democrat Party chairman, Raymond Buckley, up there in New Hampshire. He said, "The reality is that Joe Biden will win the New Hampshire primary in January, win renomination in Chicago, and will be reelected in November. New Hampshire voters know and trust Joe Biden. That's why he's leading Trump in New Hampshire by double digits. Yet they won't hold a vote for it." You talking all this smack about, oh, they love Joe Biden, but you won't let Joe Biden go against Dean Phillips and Marion Williamson in New Hampshire. You're taking the voters' voice away, but you're sitting here saying the voters love Biden? How in the hell can y'all Democrat voters sit here and take this when they're telling you damn what y'all voters want? We pick Joe Biden. When we go to the Democrat National Convention in Chicago, we're going to give all of the points from New Hampshire. We're going to give them to Biden regardless of what New Hampshire voters want. Wow. that is insane. I mean, it's borderline criminal. I mean, wow. It's crazy. But we're going to move on to another story. Let's talk about some more criminals. These are criminals who are a little bit more vicious than these New Hampshire voters. We're going to do an update on the teens in Vegas, those psychotic teens who ran down a retired cop. 64-year-old Andreas Probst, he's a retired cop from California. He was living out his later years in Vegas, minding his own business. He was murdered in cold blood by two demons, by two dumbasses who went on a rampage of crime. Jesus Ayala and Jamirus Keys, these guys were stealing cars, ramming into people. They had intentionally crashed a car into a Toyota Corolla. There was a 70-year-old cyclist just getting morning exercise. They ran him down. Then they saw Andreas minding his own business. He's just getting some morning exercise. Ran them down, laughing their asses off. Intentional murder. So they appeared in court. We got an update about what's going on with them. We got some more information. So we're going to do a recap of what happened and get some new information. Let's take a look at this news clip.
In one of 8 videos shown to a Clark County grand jury, one of the teens seems to show no remorse after his arrest following the hit-and-run crash of cyclist Andreas Probst.
A clearer picture of a crime spree turned deadly in August is emerging after the release of evidence presented to a Clark County grand jury. Police say 18-year-old Jesus Ayala and 16-year-old Jamir Keys intentionally targeted hit-and-run crimes against 2 cyclists and a car driver. During their nearly hour-long rampage involving 3 different stolen cars, police say the teens recorded each incident. In one video, you can hear the teens both plotting. Bum, 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 bum. And then laughing after hitting a 72-year-old cyclist on Fort Apache and Washburn. Just half an hour later on Tenaya Way and Azure, police say this video recorded by Keys, the passenger, went viral after being posted on social media. It shows the teens hitting a Toyota Corolla in traffic before heading northbound on Tenaya. Just moments later, the video appears to show the teens targeting and then running over retired police chief Andreas Probst, who was cycling in a bike lane.
The laughing, them saying get his ass, all of that has haunted me ever since.
The family of Probst telling ABC News they could not watch the video in its entirety.
Is it really that serious?
Yeah, it is.
The grand jury also saw Metro body cam footage revealing Ayala joking around with an officer and even making requests during his arrest.
You should buy me something to eat.
Something to eat? Why?
Ayala also repeatedly asked how long he could be detained in jail and seemingly expected easier treatment as a juvenile. He was 17 on the day of the crimes.
Hopefully for probably 20, 30 years.
20, 30 years?
And I'm not lying, I'm not being dramatic.
You think this juvenile gonna do something? I'll be out in like 30 days. What? Ah, bitch.
You might be out of juvie in 30 days and moved over to an adult jail. Because that's how bad it is.
Just a eat it one, slap on the wrist.
Probst's family now faces a future without a father or a husband.
I'll never get to have my dad there, have that, daddy-daughter dance, have him give me away or anything like that. And that hurts.
It's hard to grieve when you have anger.
The teens are back in court Tuesday morning to set their trial date. At the Regional Justice Center, I'm Jae-Won Jung.
So you can see why I describe these guys the way I describe them. Demons. These dudes are straight up monsters. And it gets a little worse because what the news clip didn't show was how they behaved in court. These guys were in court, the victim's family over here, they were laughing, remorseless. They were laughing in the face of the victim's family. They even flipped off the victim's family. And it looked like the lawyer was laughing with him, the public defendant, but I don't know. He had a big cheery smile on his face, so I don't know what the hell he was laughing at. But if he was laughing at the family, Jesus Christ, we're far gone as a society. But these guys have no remorse, thinking that they're going to get a slap on the wrist. Hey, lock them up, throw away the key. I wouldn't even be against giving these guys a rope, but I know they were underage. Jesus, he's 18 now, but the other guy, he's still a teenager. He's still 16 years old. But there's no help for him. These guys are just so far gone, there's nothing else you can do. So maybe they'll find some type of salvation while they're in prison, but they don't belong in polite society. And the hubris of this guy thinking that he's just going to get out in 30 days. And you might ask, why? Why the hell would he think that? Because when you look at our criminal justice system, it's become common in the last few years with the whole ACAB, defund the police thing. All cops are bad. All cops are bastards. All of that crap that they talk. These DAs, these George Soros DAs, they don't want to prosecute crime. You hijacking cars, beating up people, stealing, slap on the wrist. So when you have a couple of teenagers, especially black and Latino, they come to believe that they can commit all types of criminal acts and just get away with it. We've seen these teen takeovers. We've seen the damage that these teens have done all across the country, New York, Chicago, LA. We've seen what they've done. So when these guys do something like this, they believe that they'll get a slap on the wrist. Hey, I'm black. It's racist to lock me up. That's the mentality that these people have. So they sit there with Pikachu face when Johnny Law actually comes down hard on them. So they're laughing now. They're flipping off the family now, thinking everything's good. But when they're in prison, when they 5 years in, when they're 10 years in to their prison sentence and realize they still got decades more to go, and they'll never ever see the light of day. When they're in those positions, maybe they'll realize how demonic they were. We need to start prosecuting crime. We need to start disincentivizing this type of behavior. We need to come down hard on these guys to set an example. Because if this is the mentality of a lot of teenagers out there, or a lot of young men who believe that they can commit all types of vile acts and get away with it. I did a video about Meatball, that fat social media user up there in Philadelphia who was inciting a riot and they were looting all types of stores. People like this, they need to come down hard on these people. Don't give them a slap on the wrist, because other people will think twice before engaging in these type of criminal acts. Especially an act like this. You just stealing cars, running people down. First of all, where are the fathers? Second of all, these guys are dumbass idiots. But that's all I got to say about this. Let's move on to the next story. Jamal Bowman, also a criminal, because Jamal Bowman just confessed to falsely pulling the fire alarm. We all remember that. I don't need to play the audio for you again because it's annoying as hell. We just hit a fire alarm in the halls of Congress, shrieking. And we're like, what the hell is going on? People are panicking. They evacuated the building. Turns out Jamal Bowman pulled a fire alarm on purpose to stop a vote. The House was about to vote on a bill that could possibly keep the government from shutting down. A lot of Democrats wanted the government to shut down. Jamal Bowman went and pulled a fire alarm and lied about it. So he's facing this misdemeanor charge, which can be up to 6 months in jail and a $1,000 fine. And obviously, the DC judicial system is not going to put him in jail, which he should be, because let's take a look at Bowman talking about Trump.
Donald Trump may have committed a crime. He is indicted for that particular crime. That's it. That's how the justice system is supposed to work. It doesn't always work that way when you're rich and male and white. And it never works or rarely works for poor people, especially poor people of color. So this is about the justice system doing its job. This is just an indictment. We don't know, we're very far away from a conviction, so we'll see where that goes.
So based on this and based on all that January 6th nonsense, it looks like Jamal Bowman needs to not only go to jail, he needs to be expelled from Congress, because they told us that interrupting an official proceeding in Congress is an act of insurrection. So if Congress is trying to do their business and an idiot like Jamal Bowman goes and disrupts it by causing a building to be evacuated, isn't that an insurrection? Shouldn't he be sent to jail? Because we've seen guys sent to years in prison for being escorted through the Capitol building by Capitol Police, but somehow, some way, they're labeled insurrectionists. But when a Democrat does it, oh, it's all good, just slap on the wrist, talking about, yeah, I'll just pay the fine. What? Pay the fine? You've been paid all this money. You've been given all these campaign donations from the military industrial complex, from Big Pharma, and from all these other corrupt lobbyists. So you just want to pay the $1,000 fine like it's no big deal? Let that been an ordinary citizen. In fact, let it been a Trump voter who would have went there and pulled a fire alarm. They would have threw the book at this guy. Jamal Bowman needs to be ousted from Congress and do 6 months in jail, just like the law says. There's no reason why he should be getting away with a slap on the wrist with some fine that's negligible for him. All the millions of dollars they steal up there in Congress, paying $1,000 is nothing to him. So it's going to come down to this. We got a new Speaker of the House. We're going to see what he wants to do with this, because I know some people might think, oh, it's a minor issue, just let it go. No, push this to no end. The Democrats that sit there and spend millions of dollars prosecuting these January 6 people who committed no crimes, don't let it go. This is how you balance power out there, because the Democrats are not afraid of using political power to crush their enemies. Trump has been indicted 4 times. They're trying to put this man in prison for real. Look at what they did to the January 6 people. These guys are behind bars right now. Look at the Proud Boys guys, the leader of Proud Boys going to jail. They're using political power to crush their political rivals, but Republicans always think about, oh, I got to turn the other cheek. I got to let them beat the dog shit out of me, but I'm going to do nothing. I'm going to just let them stomp on me without retaliating. No, let the Speaker of the House, let them form a committee, let them investigate this, pursue it to no end, and throw the book at this man. Make sure he goes to jail and get his ass out of Congress. But knowing what the Republicans are made of and knowing how soft and weak they are, I doubt anything's going to happen. I'll be surprised if the new speaker even mentions this, because that's how trash and soft they are. But we're going to move on to this. We're going to lighten things up a bit. I'm going to react to this video clip right here. Just a video I want to react to, just a random video, lighthearted video. So let's take a look at it.
Do you live around here?
Yeah. Wow, you're super pretty. You want to go on a date sometime?
We're on there live right now on KPLA, actually. And look, they're big. This one is about 12 pounds, but they can grow to
It is a perfect day to take a jump into the pool, rather.
Take your hand,
Okay.
wave it over the key. Oh!
Соревнуются в ловкости. Например, перепрыгивают эту лужу. Но не всех это получается.
But protecting children's skin from the sun is obviously extremely important. Haley Hernandez has some tips on how to get kids on board.
Szép számmal érkeznek a további üzenetek. Idős Balázs Lajosnak születésnapja alkalmából.
But she laid in a coma for 2 weeks, and then she defied all odds and woke up.
I should buy a
Well, obviously, there's a problem with that tape. She doesn't really sound like that.
Because I know if I don't win this game, I'm done. So I just, I'm good from behind.
Wow. Interesting. And staying on a light topic, we're going to talk about a company that I've been laughing at all year. Bud Light. I haven't talked about Bud Light in a while, but of course we have an ongoing series about Bud Light, the gift that keeps on giving. Bud Light being an absolute trash company. Bud Light, who has served as an example to corporations across the world on how not to crash your own company. So Bud Light has teamed up with UFC. We're going to look at this ESPN article here for some info on exactly what went down, what the hell is going on with the UFC. We saw a couple of months ago the CEO of Bud Light, Anheuser-Busch, he was out there talking about we're going to be spending all types of money. We're going to be investing millions, hundreds of millions of dollars. We're going to be throwing Bud Light in your face everywhere. We're going to put them on commercials. We're going to put them on social media. We're going to have billboards everywhere. We're going to pay stores more than usual to put Bud Light up front. So you see Bud Light everywhere you go. You dream about Bud Light. You can't get it off your mind because it'll be in your face everywhere. That's their marketing strategy. Their strategy is to not apologize. They're just going to pretend like this whole situation didn't happen. They're going to go on and pretend that they don't even know who the hell Dylan Mulvaney is. They're going to act like they never made a partnership with him. Like that marketing director, Alicia Heinerscheid, didn't come out and insult the customers, talking about they were fratty and out of touch or the horse-faced ass. They're not going to acknowledge any of that. They're just going to go back to those same customers that they insulted and pretend that nothing ever changed. So let's look at this. Bud Light rejoins UFC with record sponsorship deal, sources say. It's according to ESPN. The UFC has signed a new partnership with Anheuser-Busch that makes Bud Light once again the official beer of the promotion, officials told ESPN on Tuesday. Sources told ESPN that it's the biggest sponsorship deal in UFC history. Terms were not disclosed, but terms weren't disclosed. Word on the street is it's over $100 million. A 9-figure deal. The biggest sponsorship deal in UFC history. You know them boys at UFC are all about their money. They all about getting paid. So Bud Light saying, look, we're going to give you an offer that you can't refuse. UFC knows that their audience isn't down with Bud Light, how they feel about Bud Light, but UFC is like, God damn, this is 9 figures, man. We'll take the hit. We'll take the recoil from the viewers because it's worth it. We got to take this massive sponsorship deal. We just can't turn this down. The multi-year contract, which begins January 1st, 2024, comes on the heels of the UFC merging with WWE under parent company Endeavor to form the new publicly traded company TKO last month. UFC and Anheuser-Busch had been partners for many years until 2017 when the UFC signed with Modelo. And one thing about Modelo is Modelo actually surpassed Bud Light as becoming the #1 beer. A couple of months ago, Bud Light was the #1 selling beer in the country for over 20 years. Then they exposed themselves, the CEO, the marketing team, all these people, they showed their customers exactly who they are, their core values. Look, we don't care about your conservative views. We don't care about your values on how people should live and all that. Damn there, we're going to take this man, woman, and throw them in your face and say, come buy our stuff anyway. And if you don't buy it, then we're going to have to lay off employees because it's your fault, not because of our fault. If you don't buy our beer after we put this man dressed as a woman in your face, that means you must be a bigot. This is what Bud Light did to their own customer base. But now they're trying to get their customer base to come back to it. Modelo passed Bud Light, and UFC is writing off Modelo and going back to Bud Light because money talks. Anheuser-Busch and Bud Light were UFC's original beer sponsors more than 15 years ago, UFC CEO Dana White said in a statement. So Dana White, obviously, he signed off on this. He's involved in all this. So obviously, he's going to talk about this in good light. He's going to sing the praises of Bud Light because they're sending him a 9-figure check. I'm proud to announce we are back in business together. There are many reasons why I chose to go with Anheuser-Busch and Bud Light. Money. Most importantly, because I feel we are very aligned when it comes to our core values and what the UFC brand stands for. I'm looking forward to all of the incredible things we will do in years ahead. Let me read this part again. This is a quote from Dana White. Most importantly, because I feel we are very aligned when it comes to our core values and what the UFC brand stands for. What? This is how you know Dana White is bullshit. Because Dana White knows exactly what the hell went on with Bud Light, what the hell went on with the Dylan Mulvaney situation. He knows how his fans feel. He knows the massive backlash all these companies got over this last year involving themselves with crap like this. But he's just talking shit. Complete nonsense, talking about our values are aligned. Bud Light and the UFC are nothing alike. I guess when it comes to dollars, they're alike. Maybe, you know what? Maybe that's what he's talking about. Their value system when it comes to getting our almighty dollar is alike, because Bud Light tried to appease a certain group, that fraction of a percentage group of freaks. They tried to appease those people and took the risk that their ordinary customers would just deal with it. And UFC is doing the same thing. They said, you know what? We know Bud Light is a tarnished brand and y'all don't want to associate it with it, but damn your opinions. We're going to partner up with Bud Light, and our confidence is that you guys will remain. Some of y'all might bitch and cry, but when we put out a pay-per-view, your ass is still going to get online and put in your debit card and order it because you love our product. It doesn't matter what beer we have out here. Bud Light, Modelo, whatever, you're going to spend your money with us. So that's what they believe. So it's the same mentality that Bud Light had. And Bud Light was wrong about it, but you know what? The UFC, they might be right, because like that Nick Merck situation with the League Kids Alone Call of Duty, how they did him, and people were saying we should boycott Call of Duty because Call of Duty is against our value systems, which they are. The value system of the headquarters of Call of Duty is not in line with the value systems of the people who purchase their products. But these people are addicted to playing Call of Duty, so Call of Duty can do whatever the hell they want. These people are still gonna go buy the latest products and download all the DLCs and everything. And it may work out the same way with UFC. People may just say, all right, whatever, I'm tired of it, because it's been months. Who cares? I need to see a good fight. I'm buying this pay-per-view anyway. Bud Light be damn. Who cares? They can partner with Bud Light. It's okay. So he might be right about that. Only time will tell. The NBA also tried to involve itself in politics with the whole BLM thing. We see BLM, that's an organization that literally praises terrorists with Hamas. We see BLM being a scammy organization, and the NBA pushed BLM all in their viewers' faces, had it written on the court, made the players talk about it in interviews, ran commercials about BLM and all that crap, and they suffered from backlash. Their viewership tanked because of it. So we're gonna see what the numbers look like. Only time can tell. So over the next year, really, only time can tell what the social media pushback looks like and what these pay-per-view sales numbers, what this viewership looks like. So hey, all I can say is good luck to the UFC in taking this massive investment and banking on the fact that your customers are still going to be there. And Bud Light, from their perspective, Bud Light is throwing Hail Marys. They've already invested extremely heavily in the NFL. You're seeing them all over the NFL this season right here, and they doing this whole YouTube TV NFL package giveaway that's worth like $250, $300 per person. They're giving out thousands of them. Basically, they're sinking millions of dollars into the NFL, into marketing through the NFL. And now they're going to do the same thing with UFC. These same, we're talking about UFC, so fighting and football. These same fratty guys that Bud Light said they ain't want nothing to do with, they're out of touch. Looks like Bud Light is spending 9 figures to get these fratty guys right back. I guess Bud Light was lying after all. They learned their lesson. They're not going to apologize. Their sales have kind of plateaued. The people who already chose to not buy Bud Light, they're already gone. So they can get a baseline on what their sales are going to be. They're not going to be as high as they were. But hey, good luck UFC. Good luck Bud Light. I don't really give a damn. I'm not engaging with UFC or any of this Bud Light crap. So whatever. So if you enjoyed today's episode, leave a like, share it. And I'll see you guys next time.